Recording is starting.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's meeting of the Woodbury County Zoning Commission. Today's date is June 24th, 2024, and the time is 5 o'clock. Tonight's meeting will be audio taped and minutes will be prepared. In respect to all parties, we ask that those present turn off cell phones or set to vibrate. Those in attendance are asked to legibly complete the attendance sheet on the front table. I would like to take a moment to review the procedures that the commission will follow tonight. First, the commission will handle the normal housekeeping agenda items. Then for each application on the agenda, I will open the public hearing on the item. Planning and zoning staff will then present the staff report, including the staff recommendation. Any letters or comments, communication received from the public prior to the hearing will be entered into the record. The applicant will then have the opportunity to present his or her case and respond to the staff report. Next, we will hear comments from the public. If you would like to speak either in support or against the application, you must come to the microphone. Please first state your name and address for the record. All interested parties shall be heard, but repetitious comments should be avoided. Repetitious or irrelevant comments may be ruled out of order by the chair. I ask that you remain respectful and courteous with your comments at all times and limit your comments to 3 minutes. After all public comments have been heard, the staff and applicant may make a closing statement. The hearing shall then be closed by motion and vote. Therefore, no further comments from staff, public, or applicant may be heard unless asked for by the commission. The commission shall then deliberate the case and may ask questions of the applicant, the staff, or any party offering testimony. However, such questions do not reopen the hearing for additional comments from the public unless so requested or approved by the commission. The commission will then formulate and vote on the motion. The motion will typically either grant or deny the request application. Any commission member who has an ex parte communication to place in the record of this meeting should do so prior to the beginning of the deliberation of the respective agenda item. We'll move on to item number 1, call to order. Number 2, roll call. Note that everyone's present except Chris Zelmer's aunt. Number 3, any comments public on matters not on the agenda?
Talk about my sign.
Okay, go ahead and come up to the microphone, state your name and address, please.
William Kyle Walker, 3281 Fayette Avenue, intersecting Highway 141 in rural Sloan, Iowa. I've lived at the residence for 15 years. I've owned and operated a roofing company for 14 of them years. I had a sign up for the past 14 years and I stuck a windmill in my yard and all of a sudden it's been a magical problem that the sign's been there. It's always been there. I pay taxes every year, $4,500 a year. I think I should be able to display my sign for my business there. Free advertising, get a lot of business off of it. We get semi trucks in and out of there on a almost daily basis in the summertime. If that sign wasn't there, even when it was before it was there, semis would go back, they'd go past the intersection, stop on the highway, and sometimes jackknife their trailer. So that's why we put a sign up in the highway. Actually, it's not in the highway, it's on my property, on my easement. Basically, these are 2 pictures. This is the original one. This is the one that I have now. This one had lights on it. So we raised it off the ground. So this doesn't have lights on it. Got it up off the ground because people driving by said, oh, the lights are shining. Okay, well, put it up higher. So respecting the people's wishes. And Mr. Dan here asked for me to plead my case. They keep referencing to a sign can't be more than 5 by 5. I don't know. Not double-sided, but yet every year, without a doubt, I get politicians from Woodbury County banging on my door asking me if they can put their politician signs in my yard. Some of them are 10 by 8s, double-sided. That's more than what the county claims is a whatever. And that's for political use, and I gladly accept all of that. I let whoever, I vote Republican usually. So they're Republican candidate, I let them stick their yard sign in my yard. So,
You got noticed.
well, they want me to tear it down because it's out of regulation and it's not a commercial business, but I'd like to say it is a commercial business. It's zoned as residential AP. I'd like to get my property zoned as agricultural. It's butts right up next to a farm, and I have plans to buy the 40 acres to the north of me when my neighbor decides when her lease expires with the cash rent guy that farms it now. So I'm not sure how all that stuff works.
What size is your sign now?
10 by 10.
And did the zoning,
And it's been up for 13 and a half years. It's been up, and like I said, we put a windmill up in my yard, and as soon as we put the windmill up in the yard, the sign automatically was a violation.
did the zoning board request this sign be changed?
The issue is signs are done administratively, and it's an agricultural preservation property. It's being utilized under the home occupation standards. Otherwise, you can't have a commercial business unless you use your property under the home occupation rules, which means you try to keep the characteristics of the neighborhood intact as much as possible within some streamlined regulations. And for the most part, he's able to do that with his property, with his sheds and everything. But what happened is the sign is much larger than the 25 square feet, which is required under the home occupation rules. So it's very much contained. And the way the zoning ordinance is written, I've got the sign section kind of up before you. It's also behind you on the screen. You'll get into these different with the free standing signs like the pylon. You'll notice that there's some restrictions on agricultural preservation. If we take the zoning district separate from the home occupation standards, it's basically not allowed. Let's say under the pylon, then we go to ground sign. Agricultural preservation has the home occupation standards. So, and then you'll notice that the maximum size is 25 square feet. And of course, the setback requirements, we can get into that. So, not to go so quickly, but I'm going to move you over to the home occupation section because I think it's pertinent to the discussion here. Let's see. If we go to the home occupation uses, these are how he can operate his business under the home occupation and the agricultural preservation. You'll notice prong number 5 where it says only one on-premise unlighted sign not more than 25 square feet in area shall be allowed. And so the sign was put up, wasn't under a building permit criteria or anything, so it was put up. And so he's coming to the commission here today to kind of discuss the standards of the ordinance. It's kind of, we're at a brick wall as far as the ordinance saying that this is not allowed.
Here's where I stand on it. The sign's been up for 13 and a half years. The sign's not coming down. Would you rather have a 28-foot trailer parked out in my yard next to the highway, or would you rather have a sign that's elevated? Your choice. Because I can park trailers in my yard, correct?
on a temporary basis, but
Yeah,
then they can become a
temporarily
fine,
basis.
and then it would be kind of a
Right.
cat and
It's a
mouse.
that's a billboard. That's a moving billboard. My
The-
problem is that sign's been there for 13 and a half years. It's never been an issue until the windmill came into effect.
Could you clarify, when you revised the sign and put the new one up?
It was
Took-
well before the
and took the other
windmill.
one down?
I don't know the exact date, but that sign's been up for at least 3 years, the way it sits. And
And-
I know for a fact the counties drove by the assessor because my taxes have gone up significantly due to them 2 buildings that are there. So someone already knew that the sign there was there. So now all of a sudden it's an issue.
Well,
That's why I'm here.
yeah, and with all
So,
respect.
I'm not sure where this is going.
Well, if I may, kind of follow up, kind of with all due respect, the building permit is required for putting the sign.
And I have
in.
done that already.
And without a building permit, we review those as far as seeing if the specifications are met with the 25 square feet, et cetera. But with that said, the purpose of kind of coming tonight is to maybe spur some discussion on this. The points that Mr. Walker has made is the 25, the way the ordinance is written, is that appropriate or not? Or is that something that could maybe be evaluated on a case-by-case basis, maybe through a conditional use permit process where, you know, businesses that run home occupations, Mr. Walker's location out there, as he described, it's along a highway, kind of heavy traffic. It is a home occupation. He lives out there on the premises. And in kind of the situation that he's in right now, if he were to come to the county and ask for a variance situation on this, one of the prongs in a variance is the issue of needing a variance should not be something that is in effect on what you have done with the property, kind of a retrospect issue. So a variance can't clean up a situation where a building permit was not part of the process. Now, with that said, this kind of sheds light possibly on an issue. And part of the reason of him being here is to look at with the unincorporated area of Woodbury County. Is that something the county would want to look at or have a recommendation over to the Board of Supervisors that are our sign parameters in which Mr. Walker, for example, he brought this sign in, is the size that he has out there, is that reasonable as far as the use in which he intends? And with that being said, could the county possibly look at this as something which the zoning commission has the right to do, to look at as far as a proposal over to the Board of Supervisors to maybe facilitate these type of businesses such as Mr. Walker's in terms of using the home occupation requirements. Again, it's not a commercial property, it's a home property. Where a home business is. You can talk about the scope of what the business is for sure, but he lives out there. He uses it to.
If I was zoned
Yeah,
commercial,
his business.
technically I couldn't, if my property was zoned commercial, technically I couldn't live on the property, correct?
Under
The way the rules read, correct?
under commercial, you cannot have a single family
Right.
dwelling.
So
on a commercial
I'm stuck in between a rock and a hard place here. You get what
And-
I'm saying? So can we zone it agricultural?
The issue is you are agricultural preservation as far as your zoning.
But if I was a
district.
farmer, I'd be exempt and I could do whatever I wanted, correct?
The farming is a different classification designation. It
I-
entails.
That's what I'm asking you though.
Cultivating the land or.
And I
rearing cattle.
do that.
I think, under the farming exemption, if you were still to operate a home business, the sign, these regulations would come into play. But I guess before we go any further, other than a variance or through a conditional use permit, there is a possibility that this could be a suggestion from this board that maybe on a case-by-case basis, or if parameters or safety issues are at hand, maybe
I'm-
this could be adjusted. I guess,
Yeah, if I may, again, the point that he's shedding light on is the size is very specific. It puts all the property owners in a box to that size. So the question is, would the commission want to entertain maybe not using a specific size, but having this in the realm of a conditional use permit where a property owner can bring a sign proposal to the zoning commission, present it under the conditional use where all the neighbors within 500 feet are notified about it. You have the proceedings and he's able to, or any of the property owners out in Woodbury County are able to bring that specifications before the board and see if it would or would not fit within the neighborhood. And so the question is, would the zoning commission ever consider entertaining looking at a sign scenario as far as adjusting the ordinance, which would take a public hearing at the zoning commission level and up to 3 at the supervisor's level for actually amending the ordinance or the law or the zoning law for the community. But would they want to put that flexibility into the zoning commission and the board of adjustment so they can look at these as a case by case basis? And that's what I would have to say about this
So,
issue.
I guess, excuse me.
You'll go ahead.
I'll make this comment. I guess where I would see would be reasonable would be leaving the 25 square foot as a blanket qualification that anybody can do. And then also adding to that, that under certain situations, maybe where it's suitable, allow for an increased size as you're asking for through the conditional use permit possibly. So if you've got a situation where it's out in the middle of nowhere, sign being 10 by 10 isn't going to affect anybody, and it may reduce the risk of trucks stopping, looking for a place, backing up. I could see where that would maybe be feasible.
It's like I said, it's either the sign on the pole or it's gonna be one 28-foot trailer and one 20-foot trailer parked in my yard. So
And you do
mean,
see that. You see semis
right.
with advertising on the side that have been parked in the
Yeah.
same spot for a
So
long time.
to me,
whether it's-
the sign on a pole is a lot more aesthetic than 2 trailers sitting out in my front yard next to the highway.
Well,
So
either-
that's how I look at it, and that's kind of why we did it.
You mentioned you went through the building permit process. Was either sign permitted?
I did not. see
They
it.
were retroactive. I've already paid the fees and everything, and Mr.
As
Dan has all that paperwork.
not for the sign.
I already paid the fee though.
There was not a sign building permit.
It's on it. I got the paperwork. It's for the sign, the fence, the windmill, and one of my buildings. Everything's included. And then I had to have a surveyor come out and survey basically everything on my property per whatever, some code thing, but that's irrelevant to what we're talking about. Other than the sign. Like I said, the sign's been up for 13 and a half years. It's never been a problem until we stuck a windmill in the yard to get free power. So I'm not sure why the county thinks it's a problem now
Was it a-
after almost 14 years.
There was a complaint.
And I'd like to know who's the complainer.
We don't.
You know who the complainer is. You just don't want to tell me. Let's not beat around the question. Who filed the complaint?
We, as far as complaints, that's just information.
Was it a county official? Was it a citizen? Who was it? So
I-
that's like me driving to a junkyard and saying, hey, you got too many cars in your junkyard, and then the county sending me a letter, you know?
If I may, the scope of this discussion is our ordinance as far as signs. Is it reasonable to look at that? So I would, based on what Mr. Walker has presented, is that something that the commission would like to look at for flexibility for property owners in the future?
I guess I would ask the commission their
I'm-
input on that.
I'm open to looking at it. I don't know what my decision would be, but I'd be curious to see what other options you have to present to us, Dan, for increasing the size.
And also the Woodbury County Assessor, I brought that along. I don't know if you guys do anything with that. But for some reason, they want to do all this stuff about the sign and the windmill and stuff, but yet they have an old picture of my house that's probably 10 years old. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
That's not.
That's not-
uncommon.
that
That
wouldn't be
has
our-
nothing to do with you.
It's not uncommon.
So that's why there's, you guys want, you guys want these
I'd like
pictures?
to-
Can we introduce the?
If you wants to just
There's no
put them
action
into the
there.
record.
Okay.
You guys want these?
You have to motion to receive.
You have to motion to receive.
Make a motion to receive the signed photos provided by the resident.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Second by Barb. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, motion carries.
I would also want to add my 2 cents that, yeah, I'd like to see us look forward and see if we could entertain a different sizes for different areas. Would
And
benefit.
yeah, and the conditional use is something that could possibly facilitate that. If you look at that from bringing a reasonable proposal to the zoning commission and the Board of Adjustment. I think Commissioner Bride kind of hit on a point of having maybe a level. Then if you go over maybe a certain level, then it triggers the additional level permitting. So we can look at that.
I guess question real quick. The previous sign you had that was lighted, you had some complaints on the lighting
Yep.
issues. Okay, so that's the reason that.
That's the
change
reason why
was
it's
made.
off the ground.
Okay,
And
thanks.
since it's off the ground, I added a section to it so you could actually see it from the highway. Cause if you stuck the whatever 5x10, you wouldn't be able to see it because it's 20 feet off the ground, 21 feet, whatever. And like I said, the main reason the sign's there, yeah, it's for advertising, but it's also for semi drivers. They deliver shingles, and before the sign was there, they drive right by the place and try to back up the highway when there's no traffic. Well, to get jackknifed on the highway, that'll cause a wreck. So I don't think the sign's safe. It's not a safety issue. If anything, it's keeping people more safe because they know, oh, I passed Walker Brothers in a snowstorm. I'm whatever 3 miles from Hornick, or I'm 2 miles from Sloan. You know, you can look at it like that.
Well, I guess I'd be in favor of looking at some form of way to increase the size that's currently there. Like I said, I'd like to keep the blanket 25 square foot for people that don't have to go through maybe an extra hurdle, but still allow people that maybe would want or need this for whatever reason it may be. Any comments from the other commissioners?
I would agree with that.
I also would agree with that assessment.
That sounds very reasonable to me also.
Well, staff can work with the chair on maybe scheduling something, and even in the form of a public hearing. The zoning commission has the authority to look at that on their own as far as bringing something up to the Board of Supervisors. And the Board of Supervisors could definitely look at that as a recommendation to maybe look at possibly changing some ordinance regulations. So.
Question I guess I would have, not that we're changing it directly for Mr. Walker, but if that does get changed, is there a moratorium or a requirement that he would have to remove his, or could it be temporarily allowed until the decision's made?
As far as if those adjustments were made to the ordinance, then it would kind of work itself out as
Okay.
far as the compliance.
Okay. He still may have to go.
He
through
would
a
have to do-
conditional
he
use
would have to-
permit, But
You'd have to do the conditional use and the building permit.
okay,
That's it.
I guess that's.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public not on the agenda? Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from April 22nd, 2024 and May 29th, 2024.
If I may, as far as the minutes, you'll see that there's 2 sets of minutes on there. And the April 22nd minutes were voted on. However, if you look in the minutes from last time, it was a 2 vote and there was an abstention. And so the 2 didn't get it over the threshold for getting it officially passed. So they remained in draft format. So with that said, we brought them back for consideration of approval.
So we're going to have an abstention also tonight, but we'll still be able to meet the threshold. So I'll go ahead and ask for.
And May I, are you going to
We'll
vote them together?
We'll
in
vote
block?
April 22nd, 2024, and then May
You'll-
29th.
You'll vote on them
Separately.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes from April 22nd, 2024.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Second from Barb. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
those opposed, same. Hearing none,
I abstain.
Corey would abstain, was not here. So, but we still have a 3-0 vote on the approval. So now we'll move on to the minutes from May 29th, 2024. I look for a motion there to approve.
I motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same.
I will abstain because I wasn't at that meeting.
So we have a 3 with an abstention from Barb on those. So the motion carries on both. Moving on to the next item of business, public hearing action for proposed minor subdivision, second chance edition. Summary, Dan, would you go ahead with that?
Yes. I filed, Mark Walker and Catherine Walker have filed for a 1-lot minor subdivision on the property identified as parcel number 894620400001. The subdivision is being completed to establish a lot in anticipation for a family member to build an eventual house. The property is presently zoned agricultural estates, which allows for additional houses to be included within the quarter. This minor subdivision proposal has been properly noticed in the Sioux City Journal's legal section on June 11th, 2024. The neighbors within 1,000 feet have been duly notified via June 7th, 2024 letter about tonight's June 24th zoning commission public hearing. The appropriate stakeholders, including government agencies, utilities, and organizations, have been notified and been requested to comment. The Woodbury County engineer provided his memo and found the proposal in compliance with Iowa code closure requirements and found that the lots have adequate access. He made reference about C&M for future driveway. As noted, this property is located in the agricultural estate zoning district and is not in the special flood hazard area. The city of Sioux City exercised their extraterritorial review authority with their council resolution 2024-0535. Based on the information received and the requirements set forth in the zoning ordinance, it's the recommendation of staff that this can be approved. The property owners and of course the surveyor are here tonight. You'll notice that this is a 1 lot that is just simply being split from the other lot. My understanding is, I'll have to defer to the surveyor, maybe Doug, the lot that's not in the subdivision, that also has frontage. With, yeah, you left about 60 feet. Okay. But other than that, that's all I got. So.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Okay, anybody that would like to speak on behalf or against this proposed subdivision?
Well, I'm Mark Walker, not related to the other Walker that was here. And yeah, we're the ones that asked for this, and we live at 1378 Buchanan Avenue. I don't know what else to tell you. If you have any questions, I guess.
No questions from the commission. Guess I'd like to thank you for speaking on behalf of this.
Okay, thank you.
If there's no one in the audience, no further comments, motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close hearing.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Hearing none. Motion to close is accepted. And if Any comments from the commission?
Only
or
question I had
further
was-
question?
If there was frontage on the remaining lot and it's been answered, so that's it.
No other comments? I'd entertain a motion.
A motion to recommend approval of Second Chance Edition, final plat to the Woodbury County Board of Supervisors.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you for coming. Moving on to item 6. Public comments not on the agenda. Here is seeing none. Move on to the staff update.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. I do have a couple items. Couple weeks ago, I was at a Board of Supervisor meeting, and at the board concerns session, I believe, or the comment session, Supervisor Radig kind of started discussing a little bit about the energy policy for the county. We definitely have looked at wind as a county in the past couple of years. Solar obviously was a big part of the discussion. And they brought up possibly having the zoning commission go on another research project on possibly looking at nuclear energy as a possibility. They have not formally sent the directive to the commission yet, but I just simply wanted to kind of put that out there, that might be something that we could possibly explore. And so just kind of initially looking at that, we know that that's a very consequential form of energy. It's highly regulated in some forms internationally, as well as with the federal government has a very compelling role in the permitting. So the locality and our ability might be limited to some extent on what the possible zoning requirements are. So we're kind of at a blank, fresh slate at this juncture as far as kind of studying it and understanding it. My first reaction is, do we have some type of form of conditional use, or do we have some type of mechanism that we integrated in with the Board of Supervisors if it does have some level of zoning involved with it? If it does not have zoning and it's strictly more of a federal kind of regulatory and coinciding with the state, we'll have to kind of look at that to generally know. But the idea is necessarily that you facilitate at least an environment that would signal that possibly maybe the citizens of Woodbury County might see this as a landing zone if there's any potential levels of nuclear energy that could come to this area. There are different levels, some possible smaller scale that could be looked at, but it's definitely a fascinating request. And it's something we can possibly look at, but it's not been officially directed. So I'm just simply telling you tonight that it was brought up as something that we could potentially be looking at. And as you recall, last time we got the direct agenda item from the Board of Supervisors that told the commission to look at it. So at this point in time, again, the commission kind of does have the ability to come up with your own concepts, projects, ideas that you can bring forward the way our ordinance is written. But I would probably anticipate that right now they're considering sending over a possible directive to us based on what came out of that public meeting at the supervisors. The second item that I had, I just kind of want to bring this up. The subdivision that we looked at last time with the Hughesen second edition, that went up to the Board of Supervisor level. They did vote it out. And so the zoning will be likely take effect on the publishing date, which is Thursday. And then they will be required to record the subdivision plat for the Hughesen second edition. That area that's been down there, we had the gentleman at the zoning commission that brought up the water type of issue, and you all took the information at hand, and we looked at it, went through the city there, It went through the county engineer's office, and Mark Nara has that in the 2025 budget as far as possibly paving the 220th Street. That plat that you looked at as well had, I believe, an extra 17 foot of dedication, which would put that in county right-of-way control. And I got a call after we got to the first public hearing at the supervisor level. No one came, so they took the recommendation. It looks fine, voted off the first reading on the rezone. Then the second time, we put it up to go ahead and waive the third reading, so they went ahead and approved the rezone and the subdivision plat. Well, I got a phone call that somebody talked to one of the supervisors that didn't come to apparently the meetings and asked if there's any soil testing of any sort that had been done. And so they kind of brought up some general concerns about, in general, do we ever test soil as far as farms going into subdivisions? And typically with the minor subdivision, that's pretty much something that we have deferred over to Siouxland District Health and the Health Department and everything. So I just have a general question for the members that have been here longer than myself. Have you all ever had soil testing ever in a form of subdivision plat recommendation?
Nothing that I'm aware of as long as I've been on, and I guess I think that would be something that would be kind of difficult to have in every application. I think that's falls more towards the responsibility of the builder and the homeowner.
Yeah. Yeah, because the reason I bring that up is obviously all the time, and I know even before me, John and some of my predecessors, they would send out the full scope to the stakeholders, ask for the stakeholders to comment. And if anything kind of pops on the radar, we include that in the report. And then, of course, we bring it to the commission. I remember at times when we've got anecdotal evidence on flooding or future floodplain areas that I know the commission's taken action before to put requirements out for elevating or ensuring floodplain recognition and things of that nature. So in the past one that we went through, we didn't have, that information come to us as far as in the zoning commission or the board of supervisors. So we kind of got an after the fact kind of call saying, yeah, farmers, will spray fields and put different things on, and do they ever soil test? And we have splits that happen all the time that don't rise up to subdivisions where farmers will bring a piece in. Most of the time when they do a split, they're really good at taking the piece of the land out that's not producing, that's, more of a grassy or some tree area. But as far as the farm fields, I attempted to talk to Siouxland District Health for Ivy kind of recently, but I know that once they get over to the well and septic discussion in terms of eventually purchasing the lots, that they have to go through the health department on those aspects. So I haven't seen it up front as far as in the platting. I could probably see it more if it rose to a major subdivision where we're doing the SUDAS requirements, putting the roads in and making sure that it goes to a certain level. But as far as splitting traditional lots off, or like the lot we looked at tonight to the subdivision, we haven't really got into those condition-based issues as far as extra soil requirements. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Thanks, Dan. Move on to any commissioners' comments or inquiries. Doesn't look like we have any on that either, so we'll move on for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing all those opposed, same. Hearing none, motion carries.